there's a question that some people raise, or some belief of some, normally women, or some people, they think that the hijab is not mentioned in the Quran. That's because they read the verse of the Quran that says to draw their veils over their bosoms, and they understand that that means that you just have to cover your bosom, not your head. But it's actually very obvious that that wouldn't make sense, because then it would just, if it was just the bosom area, the Quran, why would the Quran say to draw it down from the head? You know, maybe it would say to remove from the head and put on the bosom or something like this. But the whole idea of drawing the veil from the head to the bosom is indicating that this whole area is something that you should cover, because the women at that time were already wearing head veils. They were wearing headdresses, because actually most cultures and most women all over the world were wearing them before. So there really was no need to say to women to put something on your head, because in all cultures, even in English culture, British culture and Western culture, women were wearing things on their head. So it made sense to say that this thing wearing on your head, just pull it down over your bosom, because women all over the world, I mean, maybe I will try to make a video to show pictures of the different types of veils that women wear throughout the world. Christian women, Hindu women, Sikh women, I don't know what other kind, but you know, there's various religions that have veils. Maybe they don't wear it exactly like Muslim women, but they wear the head veils. And at the same time, you know, women of the past used to wear the veil on their head to cover the, bring it down. They used to wear the veil on their head. I mean, even if you look at nuns, where do these nuns get their head veil from? It's from the practices of Christianity, the true Christianity, not the watered down one that people are following now, where it's okay not to wear something on your head. There are various Christians nowadays throughout the world who do wear something on their head. They wear the veil, and Hindu women do. I've heard that Jewish women have to as well, but some Jewish women, I've heard that what they do is actually they shave their head and wear a wig. This is their way of dealing with it. And Sikh women, they wear something on their head. So we see pictures of people from these countries, India and Africa. I don't know what religion exactly they are, but I see pictures of people from Africa wearing something on their head, you know, veils on their head. So I don't know if that's a cultural thing or a religious thing, but it just seems that throughout the world and in the past, women have been wearing something on their heads. So it makes very logical sense for the Quran to not say to put something on the head, but rather to say to draw down this thing that's already on the head and to cover the bosom. It just seems that in our time that many women are not wearing something. So this is part of the confusion now. But if you study the history and you study all these different types of cultures, you'll see that most women were wearing this. So there's no contradiction. And the Quran also, the Hadith explains that, you know, when a woman has reached the age of puberty, nothing should be seen from her except her face and hands. There's more than one Hadith that explains that. And I guess if you want to ask, why would it make sense? Why would God ask us to cover everything except the face and hands? Because some people say that logically the face is the most beautiful part of a woman. So why would she not have to cover her face? You know, wouldn't it make more sense to just say cover your face and leave your hair, for example. Actually, it doesn't make sense, because the whole purpose of leaving the face and hands is because women need to show these things for various reasons. I mean, there's the issue of getting married, but this is not the main reason. The main thing is that for buying and selling and so forth, there's many reasons. For identity purposes, people need to see someone's face. Your face is the main thing that people will take to know you. So if someone has to go to the doctor, they're faced with the police, they're faced with, someone needs to see them or to recognize them. They need to look at their face. So for this reason, women's faces are, they're not considered awra, they're not considered private, but at the same time, men are told to lower their gaze. So this is the solution to that problem. Men should lower their gaze. And the hands, because in buying and selling, it would be too difficult for a woman to buy and sell and so forth if she could not cover. I mean, if she had to cover her hands and everything. And the whole issue of the covering, what you should cover and what not, it can differ sometimes in terms of the lives of women. Like, who is this woman and her position in society? Because the wives of the Prophet ﷺ had to wear, their ruling was different because they were wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and they were not normal women, and they, for example, they were not going to get married after the death of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and they did not have to go and work, for example, in the fields. Women who work in the fields are different to a woman who does not work, she's in her home. And the slave women, for example, they don't have to wear the full hijab. They would have hijab. They had certain areas that they had to cover, but not the full covering as a free woman, because they were working in different things, and they had, they were recognized as slaves in this way when they were slaves. So the position of people in society influences what should be shown and what not. Because in terms of war as well, sometimes women were, there's hadiths that tell us that sometimes some of the women, they lifted their skirts a bit because they had to carry water and different things to the men in terms of war. So this was due to necessity. But when there's necessity, it's a bit lighter, and when there's no necessity, it's a bit more than that. But the other important thing I wanted to mention about the face, why it's not incumbent to cover the face, but it is incumbent to cover the body, is because, scientifically, nowadays, I've seen scientific studies, and I've heard this from men as well, saying this, that men get affected by the bodies of women, by the shape of the woman, and her curves. I'm just going to explain specifically, because this is something that's confusing for many people. Like, why would you leave the face and not the body? Because I read there was a study done that men, when they see the hourglass figure, the figure of the woman, it's like they take drugs or something. They get affected by this shape, and this affects them. But the face is not something that's going to make these desires or make these feelings as much as the shape of the body. So for this reason, women have to cover this area, this shape of the body, and this is the mistake that some women are making, because maybe they haven't understood the true meaning of hijab. They think that it's just putting a cloth on your head, and then just, if you wear tight clothes, it's not a problem because you're covered. Okay, it's very tight, but yeah, well, you're covered. No, you have to wear something loose to try and cover the shape of your body. And some women, they have more, maybe they need to wear a bit more or to put more covering because they have a larger body size or more shape to themselves. And this is for the benefits of men and women, because women don't want to feel like they are being stared at or go that or be seen as less than who they are and not respected for who they are. And at the same time, men need to go out and do things in society without being affected by the shape and the appearance of women's bodies, because it's like if you say to a cat that it's not okay for you to catch this mouse. The problem is that cats have a natural instinct that when they see a mouse run, they feel they have to run after it and catch it. So you kind of just have to put the mouse out of the way so that the cat will not have that. It's just the way that people are programmed. So for this reason, it's for this reason that women are asked to cover their body with loose clothes and not show the shape of their body. But the issues of the colors and so forth, these are cultural things, and it depends on people's countries and cultures and so forth, and what is appropriate for their country and culture. And regarding the face, the Quran tells men to lower their gaze. And this is the way of dealing with fitna, because some people say that because of fitna, women should cover their faces. If a woman wants to cover her face, it's permissible, but actually there's nothing anywhere that says a woman must. The Quran tells us that men should lower their gaze, and this ayah comes before the ayah that tells women to cover themselves. So it's actually more important for men to lower their gaze, and this would end all the fitna. This would end all the problems. If men lowered their gazes and didn't see what women were wearing or what they're doing, we would not have so much fitna.